Hello everyone, my name is Amelia. I have an interesting story that happened, and it is connected with my crush. Yes, it was exciting enough, too much so. Tell me, would you like to be in the same room with your crush? That's what I wanted, and I got. Should I tell you all the details? Then listen and watch. By the way, do not forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and of course, write comments under the video. In general, for several years, I liked the same person. His name is Michael. Wow, he's just an unreal beauty. I immediately realized that he was my crush, and since then, my heart has not accepted anyone else. At the same time, I knew that I would never be able to win his attention, because girls like me are too simple for him. He has more popular girlfriends, bitches with money, and most often, their parents are big businessmen. What about me? Nothing. I have long lived only with my father. He has been divorced from my mother for many years, so I stayed with him. Or rather, my mother left me with him herself. As she said, she needed to settle her personal life, so I became a ballast. With my father, life has always been measured. There are no risks or hints of adventure. Dad just loves to keep everything under control and never rummaged in women's fashion. So if you've ever seen a girl with short hair, no manicure, in a men's t-shirt and jeans with sneakers, it's probably me, or someone with a very similar fate as me. In short, there weren't many girls who liked to hang out with me either, but I did have one friend, a friend for ages. His name is Simon. This is the same person who always supported me, was there for me, gave me advice, constantly listened to my mental sufferings, and tried to help. I am grateful to fate for giving me such a cool man, because not every day can you boast of a sincere, warm relationship, especially between a boy and a girl. But we could. Simon always gave me advice on what to do and how to get my crush's attention. And this year, we decided to take drastic measures. You have to completely change your image of clothes, style, hairstyle, and everything else. You can see for yourself what girls are his taste, more feminine and bright, he said to me. And I thought, really? Is it time to start acting? Why have I been living only in dreams all these years? What's stopping me from trying? Nothing, just my prejudices. Simon was delighted with my fighting spirit. So before the first day of school, we went to beauty salons and shops. God, I've never spent so many hours on my looks in my life. I not only had a manicure with a pedicure, I removed all the extra hair on my head, did my makeup, and I had a number of procedures in the spa department. In general, the work was carried out colossally, and in the end, I put on a chic dress to the knees. It was dark blue, and I was wearing heels, and I looked amazing. It took me a moment to recognize myself in the mirror, and when Simon saw me, his mouth dropped open in surprise. On the first day of school, we went to school, and I appeared in front of Michael in this form. He was delighted, said hello, gave me a lot of compliments, and immediately invited me to a party on the same day in honor of the beginning of the school year. I agreed and told him I'd come with Simon. Well, you can take it, he said to me, and I was glad. At home, I changed my clothes, and in the evening, we already went to the party. Simon offered me a plan of decisive action. He said that he would lock me in a room with my crush, and this could create a certain mood. I wanted him to fall in love with me, maybe kiss me, and we could start dating. Michael was perfect. As soon as we entered the house, he greeted me with a warm hug, handed me a punch, and led me to the dance floor. We danced for about 30 minutes, and then he started showing me around the house. He had a huge house that you could even get lost in. A little drunk, I didn't really know where to go. And then Michael led me into his bedroom and asked me to lie down so that I could move a little. Simon, as promised, as soon as we entered the room, locked it, and we were left alone. My heart was pounding in a frenzied rhythm. I was ready to faint with excitement, and only Michael's embrace did not allow me to collapse to the floor. He kissed me, but it wasn't like I'd imagined. The kiss was not sincere. It was too assertive, rude, and I did not like it. He kissed me again and again, and then he pushed me toward the bed, and I fought back. I told him not to do it, and he was like, "Don't tell me that's not why you came to me." At that moment came my utter disappointment in him. How could he say that, and why was he acting like a pig? I stepped aside to open the door, but he wouldn't let me. He started grabbing my hands, my hair, and tried to kiss me again, but I screamed at him to let me go. Michael didn't hear me. He was like a zombie, talking only about his beauty and the fact that there were thousands of people like me. I wanted to cry at what was happening. Did my crush really turn out to be so nasty and worthless? Just as I was about to go out again, he pushed me and I fell to the floor. At this point, Simon ran into the room. He did not look at the fact that Michael is taller than him by a head and pumped up. He stood up for me, got a fist in the face, did not fall, held on, and told me to run home. I screamed when the fight started. Simon lost. He got a few hard punches in the face, and I thought he was going to die. I lunged at Michael from behind and bit his shoulder, and he left Simon and threw me to the floor. Then he got up, called us freaks, and left the room. Simon and I were walking home in a terrible mood, and Simon still had his face ripped open. It was the worst party of our lives. It was actually the first one of our lives. Anyway, we didn't even really want to talk about it, but I just asked that we never think about Michael again. A couple of days later, we met again and I went to school with Simon. Unexpectedly for me, he asked, "What did you like about him?" I knew immediately who he was talking about, but it was so unusual for me to answer such a question. Then I realized that I hadn't asked myself that question, because I just liked Michael because he was so handsome, so popular, and so confident. But I didn't know the qualities that were in him. This little analysis calmed my supposedly broken heart a little. Yes, you're right. I didn't quite break it, but still, I felt so bad from the disappointment. When we got to the school, Michael was standing there with his boys. He was angry with me for rejecting him and decided to confront me. "Did you change into a kid again? What? Did they force you to return the stolen things?" he asked sarcastically. I threw a look at him and walked past him. Then Simon stopped. "Oh no, Simon, come on," I said, not wanting him to get another slap in the face because of me. But Simon went up to Michael and said that he would never meet a girl like me in his life, that there is no girl more intelligent, feminine, and gentle than me, that being near me is already happiness, and all because I have a beautiful soul, a kind heart, and I'm just wonderful. "You're just not worthy of her. No one is worthy of her at all. And only jerks like you, Michael, can just take brute force to demand a return kiss or hug. But you don't deserve it," he said. At this point, Michael and his boys started laughing wildly at Simon, calling us a couple of freaks in love and shouting at us to invite them to the wedding. But I didn't care because in my head, I replayed the words of my best friend who has been with me for so many years, never failed, and was always kind, and God, why hadn't I thought of this before? I suddenly realized that a real person with the best intentions has been around me all these years. We went into the classroom and I sat down next to Simon, and when the teacher came in, I took his hand under the table. He smiled. So, sometimes true happiness is much closer than we can imagine.
Hi, I'm Nathan, and I've had a crazy experience with girls as close as possible. And all because I happen to literally live among girls for a while. Do you want me to tell you how it happened? Then watch on, like, leave comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Anyway, when I started high school, I liked a very cool girl. Her name was Liz, but she didn't pay any attention to me. Despite all my charm and beauty, she thought I was weird. Maybe it's true. I'm just very sociable, and I always like to make fun of everyone. Tell stories, talk, mock. Sometimes I go too far, but even a guy like me has feelings, which means I can love. So I fell in love with Liz once. Most of all, I was attracted to the fact that she was part of the synchronized swimming team. It's just a bomb. I thought if I didn't get her attention this year, it would be over because we were in our senior year. My friend Charlie and I once had a bet that I would get to know Liz better, but he just laughed in my face. That's when I decided to go to extreme measures. Just the day before, I heard that the girls' team needed another member. Yes, I was a bit of a jerk, and I was afraid to take risks, especially since it seemed funny. So I wrote a letter to the school's email address, introduced myself to Leslie, and said I would come to the audition the next day. In the evening, I told Charlie everything and he laughed, and then asked me how I was going to go, because I don't have a women's bathing suit, or a wig, and my legs are hairy. Wow, I didn't think of that. We immediately gathered our friends, who gladly agreed to make me a doll. I'll tell you right away, I never thought that the girls are all so messed up. It's a good thing I didn't grow a mustache and a beard. I went to a friend's house, where several friends were waiting for me with lots of makeup and gloves. I was told to lie down on the bed. I thought I was going to get a relaxing massage. I was smeared with something warm on my legs, arms, and chest. And then they stuck some white stickers and told me to hold my mouth with my hands. When I asked why, a hell of a pain shot through my bones. These girls stripped me to the skin. Well, that's what I thought. They were actually pulling out my hair. It was terrible. When they powdered me, made up my hair, did my hair. I used to have shoulder-length hair. Put on the biggest swimsuit. The most important thing remained. I had to do a breast job and hide something. You know. They quickly built me some things and stuck them on my chest. As if I have a chest, and what all the boys have, we hid with special underpants. Well, 4 hours of work, and I almost looked like Miss Universe. Everyone was laughing around me, and I was just taking selfies. The next day, I went to the casting in the pool, checking in advance whether everything is in place. I put on a beanie, a bathing suit, stuck these things on, and tried to walk like a woman. Then I saw Liz. She was part of the cast. I walked with more or less feminine gait, then walked over to Liz. Charlie was watching from the window, laughing wildly, and I tried to hold back as much as I could. I said hello. We talked for a while, and then I showed you how I can swim. Liz checked it out. I was happy and asked for a phone number, but she said it was not necessary and said that other girls would call me back. I left. Charlie kept telling me I'd never get her phone, but I thought the game was just beginning. Surprisingly, 2 days later, I actually got a call back and asked to come back again. I was selected for the national team. Can you imagine? I couldn't believe my ears. At first, I laughed at myself and then realized with horror that now I have to clean my hair all the time. But I was willing to make such sacrifices to win the argument. This is a matter of honor. From that moment on, I was constantly coming to training, being close to Liz, and I tried to pretend that I didn't understand something, so that I could get to know her even better. She helped me with swimming, taught me how to move beautifully, and hang in the water to music. I was getting really excited about it. I just didn't think it would take so long or so seriously. After the first workout, we went to the shower together, and when I went in, it was like I was in heaven. There was a bunch of naked girls standing there, all bathing, passing shampoo to each other, and I tried to pretend it was natural, but I couldn't seem to stop staring. Then I felt uncomfortable inside and realized that it was time for me to leave. I gathered my things and quickly ran toward the exit. Aren't you going to bathe? Liz asked, and I muttered like, no, and ran away. Oh no, I thought for a long time, so I didn't stretch. Charlie asked me a lot of questions at night. I asked myself how I would look at them tomorrow. There's nothing to do. The argument's not yet won. So I gathered my strength and came to training again. Liz often made comments to me because I was always distracted, but I couldn't help myself. I was wondering, if you were in my place, how would you behave? On the second day, I went straight to the locker room to get my things and saw one of our girls crying. Her name was Annie. I sat down to talk to her, and she was crying so bitterly. I found out that her boyfriend had left her. We met for a short time, about a week, and then he invited me to his house. I really liked him, but I never thought that he would leave me after our first night, she said and sobbed on. I suddenly felt so sorry for her, so I calmed her down and went home. In the evening, we met with Charlie, and he immediately began to tell us that day before he broke his personal record for girls. He showed me a photo, and I recognized the girl as Annie. I was kind of annoyed to find out that the same goat is my best friend. Charlie said he wasn't planning anything serious with her, just a one-night stand. Why did you do this? I saw her today, and she's in a lot of pain. I couldn't believe what I was saying. It didn't sound like me, but I really felt sorry for Annie. Charlie twirled a finger at his temple and said I was getting too sentimental. You're really going to be a girl soon, he said, and left. That night, I went to Annie in my disguise, and she was sitting in the schoolyard, crying again. When she saw me, she started yelling at me to stay away, because she knew that Charlie and I were friends. I calmed her down, told her it wasn't worth it, and then gave her a pie and wiped away her tears. We had a nice time, and a laugh, and then she said that this experience with Charlie would make it easier to get burned. I was glad that I was able to help her. Charlie found out about our friendship, and was furious. He came to our training session and approached Liz. He knew how important it was for her to perform, and he also knew the truth about me. In short, there was a terrible story. He showed up and took off my fake breasts in front of everyone. Then I tore off my bathing suit, and Liz fainted. He made it sound like I was some kind of maniac who almost sniffs women's underwear and played this whole concert for Liz's panties. I was so angry that I jumped on him and hit him hard. We fell in the pool and got into a fight. Liz was hysterical. After this incident, access to the team was closed to me. All the girls hated me, and of course, Charlie and I are no longer friends, and only Annie supported me the best as she could. I was the last asshole in Liz's eyes. I disgraced the team. I let them down right before the first show, and all thanks to my stupid ideas of making fun. Liz hated me, and that's what hurt the most, because I really liked her. The principal of the school heard about my illegal participation, deception, said that he was obliged to punish me. He promised to expel me from the school, and I did not expect such consequences. Dropping out of school at the end of the year is not a good prospect. I spoke to him and said that only if the team captain asked me to leave, I would leave. And as you understand, the captain is Liz. A day later, I was about to confess everything to my parents, but suddenly the principal called me to the office. When I went there, she was sitting there. I was surprised and at the same time ashamed. She asked me not to be excluded. We left the office and she said that she had heard Annie's story about my help. It was only because of her that I asked to leave you, she said. It was nice. In general, since then we began to communicate, well, as friends. But I found a replacement. One of my makeup artists just used to swim, so they quickly prepared for the competition.